End of season cricket renovation. It's been a long hot summer this year, grass has really suffered, but we went from that to this in just 2 weeks and it looks even better now, 4 weeks on. So let's see how we actually did that. All the kit we're using today, this is your basic small village ground, so no massively expensive equipment here. That's all the kit there, and here are the materials we're putting on. Plenty of loam, super sorry loam at this club, and then that is the secret, all those germination sheets, a couple of levelling loots for the ends, got some rakes and landscaping rakes, usual shovels, got me dibber so I can do some soil sampling, drag mat, absolutely essential. Found that one online for 30 quid on Facebook Marketplace. This is the Hyundai blower that we've been sent to test, so we're going to give that a good workout today. We're also going to do a review video, so subscribe if you want to be notified of that one. That is the sorrel roller for the Sysis Auto Rotor Rake attachment, and at the minute we have the scarifying blades in there. Really excited to use that mental scarifier. That is the MX53 Cobra electric start geared, really useful rotary mower, about 20 inches wide. This is a new bit of kit for me, the Gardena lawn sweeper. We also do the Cobra ones, that's going to pick the thatch up. We've got our broadcast or cyclone spinner spreader, and our drop spreader for the seed. This is a much bigger drop spreader that we've borrowed off a neighbouring club, and we've attached it to the back of our Hater LT, I think it's a 322. Materials wise, that is our Purity soil conditioner. If you know why we're using that, then you know. We've got our grass seed, 100% rye grass for cricket squares. We'll talk a little bit about the grass later. And we're going in with about 30 kilos over 7 wickets. That's about 70 grams a square metre. There's our pre-seed fertiliser, high in phosphorus, and 2 pallets of super sorry loam. It's about 80 bags. We'll end up using about 70 of them and keeping some in the back for repairs over the season. And this is what we're dealing with. We've just cut that down low. That's cut down to about 6 mil. You can see we've got dry patch that I actually sprayed it for a couple of weeks ago. I'll link the video here. Go and see how we sprayed that wetting agent, because I needed the soil to not be hydrophobic if we're going to have a really good start to this renovation. So that's what we're dealing with. You can see on the right hand side there, that was our old Astro wicket. Going to incorporate that now so the kids got something to play with. So you might already notice we're using the LS42. This is mine, this is Mowd's. Hire that from any shop, any lawn care or plant hire shop. Got loads of them. It's a lawn care product, not really a professional sports product, but the Sysis belt snapped as soon as I used it, so I had to dash home and grab this one. If the ground is soft enough, it works well. You can see the amount of thatch it's pulling out. Cricket squares, we scarify these and manage the thatch all year round, and still look how much thatch there is coming out of there. And it is thatch that's going to cause your wickets to be really slow and really like tennis ball bouncy and spongy. Thatch is the death of a good wicket. So we're going over at kind of like a 20-30 degree angle. That's the first pass done. You can see how much thatch there is in there, absolutely loads. More on this side of the square than that. Say this is the old Astro wicket, so this is more soil than clay, but just look at the amount of rubbish that's going to come off of there. We're going to clear all that now before we do the second pass with the scarifier. Look at those lines that are going in there. Those lines that the scarifier is putting in is where the seed is going to bed down into eventually. Gives really nice seed soil contact. So this is the lawn sweeper. It's just going to get the worst of it off the top. It's nice, it's quiet, no vibrations, doesn't take long at all on a square this size. And then we will do the second pass of scarifying. So we're going to pass 3 times, never at 90 degree angle. So you can see I've gone kind of 30 degree angle, I'll go 30 degrees in the other way, and then I'll follow the direction of play for the final pass, creating these kind of diamonds, triangles, these lines in the ground. This is the second pass. You can see not as much thatch coming off of it, but still plenty being taken up. And really this is your one chance in the whole year to strip your square of thatch. You can be as brutal as you want to be, because we're going to be putting the seed and the loam down, and it's got 6 months to recover before we end up playing on it. This is the third pass. I'm going over at 30 degree angle the other way. Didn't collect the thatch up this time because there's not enough of it to impact the blades working, so we're just trying to get it moved on. It's a baking hot day today, early September. So again, now we're going to get all that collected up, and then once we've collected it with the lawn sweeper, we're going to run over it with the Cobra mower. This is the MX53 SPC, 20 or 21 inches wide, fantastic mower. Not got a roller on the back, but it does go really low. Side discharge collection, mulching. I'm going to use that just to suck up. It creates really great suction being a rotary mower and lifts all the dust and all the thatch that we've missed with the sweeper. And just so you kind of understand how much of that is just after a third of the square, a whole barrel. So it's well worth running the rotary over. And then even when the rotary has been run over, we've got Joey on the backpack blower, the Hyundai. Again, got a review video on this piece of kit just to blow all the dust and debris and make the surface as clean as possible before we start spreading the materials that, you know, you pay a lot of money for. So you can see the lines that we put in the ground from that scarifier, not as clean as if it was the Sysys auto rake or auto rotor rake or a tractor mounted scarifier, but you can see the lines that the seed's going to bed down into, and that is really important as well. It's taken out some of the weed grasses, and this is now our blank canvas for applying all the products that we're going to go on to. So first things first is the seed, 100% ryegrass. That's what's used on cricket squares. Doesn't mind being cut short, comes back well from drought, very disease resistant, can take all the stresses from rolling and being dried out and all the high foot traffic. A really great grass, especially the dwarf rye varieties now, which actually look great. And the other benefit, of course, of ryegrass is it stripes brilliantly because of the different colour on one side of the leaf to the other, or the different shade of green. One's shiny, one's matte. And then we're into the drop spreader. Love this drop spreader. You can use a cyclone spreader or broadcast spreader to get your seed out there. I just find this a little bit more kind of controlled. I want to spend all my seed money on the seed on the square, not necessarily on the outside of the square, but there's no reason why you can't use a broadcast spreader. So again, we're going to get that seed down about 30 kilos over about 400 and 420 square meters. That's going to come in at about 70 grams a square meter. Now we'd be expecting easily upwards of 90% germination from these seeds. It's really, really good quality seed that we use. Again, all available in our online shop, so I'll post the link here for all your grass seeds, bowls, bent grasses, fescues, football pitches. But this is a lovely rye. You can see how thick it's going down because the difference in shade on the right hand side to the left hand side there. But this spreader is wide open, dropping all that seed straight down. Really important with the seed as well that it is spread evenly. You can see the bowling ends there that need a little bit bare. I'm just going to top it up a bit more. I'm going to say about 30 kilos. That's going to leave me 10 kilos over the season just for repairing ends, and that might need a whole other bag actually if we're going to repair pitches to be reused later on in the season. But this is Dave now going the opposite way to which I've just been. Again, kind of a standard spreading technique if you like, and just look at the difference and look at it. We'll look close. You can see the density of the grass seed now and why it needs to be that dense. The denser the grass we get, oh, look at that. It's like a seed waterfall. The denser the seed we get, the less chance we've got of moss and weeds and all weed grasses creeping into the square. And a really dense canopy, a really dense square means that we can get longer out of our pitches. We'll leave the grass a bit longer next year because we've got a second team that has just started. So the pitch will be in use every week. So we need dense grass. But on the flip side, we have to manage that with verticutting, scarifying, etc. so we don't get lawn disease, especially from November, kind of October, November time when it's warm and moist. So that's really important. We drag brush. This drag brushing actually is just to take the seed off of the leaf and to brush it down onto the soil, and hopefully most of it into those lines that we created with the scarifier. A really important step that you don't want to miss. Next product to go on, this is Purity Soil Conditioner. If you know, you know, but this is primarily going to help with the fertility of the soil. It's going to help the germination. It's going to improve the cation exchange capacity, which means the soil will hold the nutrients ready for the grass to use it. And it is a fine material, so close the openings on your spreader a little bit compared to if you're spreading a fertiliser, but it goes on in exactly the same way, up and down in one direction, and then I will go up and down in the opposite direction just to make sure we're getting a really even spread. Again, this is 20 kilos going on over this square, so that's more like 35-40 grams a square metre ish. No need to be too kind of bothered with a product like this because you're not going to get kind of fertiliser scorch and burn. So yeah, just a few passes back and forth over the top of that seed. Then time for the pre-seed fertiliser, low in nitrogen, high in phosphorus and fairly low in potassium, so 696. It's not slow release. This is going to all come out in the next 4 to 6 weeks, which is great because we want to encourage some good growth for the grass that's already existing, but we want the phosphorus to help the roots develop of the new seed that we're laying down, give it a real good kickstart before growth starts to slow down in autumn. Again, one bag, 20 kilos, roughly 35-40 grams per square metre. And then we're on to the last bit. Now, instead of dragging around our own top dresser, we went and borrowed this from a club local to us, hitched it up to the back of the Hater outfield mower. And because the square is firm enough, we're just going to drive over it. So we're going to start her up, and then Dave's going to fill up the top dresser whilst I just drive forward, dropping it out. Now it's been modified a little bit. We've cut some of the extra holes out so it drops a little bit faster. But we're going to get over the 7 pitches we're putting, over the 7 wickets, we're putting on about 70 bags of topsoil, or rather loam, just to level out any dips and hollows, but also just to give that seed a really good covering. Anything from 3 to kind of 5 mil is good for seed to germinate through. And we just need to replace some of the surface that we've taken off through scarifying. If you had corrode or phrase mowed the top surface and taken 4 or 5 mil off, then you'd want to be putting an awful lot more loam on there, unless you were trying to lower the level of the square. But you can just about see down there, you can see the soil dropping out in lines. It's just a nice, easy way. It's a little bit slow. There is better equipment you can use, but again, this is a small club using the kit it can get its hands on. Drag brush, the most important step, because ultimately when we're playing next year we want nice flat surfaces, and this drag brush is going to take off any little crowns and hollows and just level out that loam. Now it won't level out dips and such because it will follow the contours of the ground. It's merely making sure that the loam is spread evenly across the surface, and it will follow the levels that you already have. So you can see it's working in. We're going the opposite direction as well to which we spread it. A little bit of hard work, but honestly, that drag mat, really essential piece of kit. Pick that up online for about 30 quid off Facebook Marketplace. So keep your eyes on those. This one's nice and small that we can drag it along ourselves. So there's a really good example. You can see how lumpy that is at the end. Drag mat goes over and you've got a lovely smooth finish. So don't forget to do the drag matting. I brushed the seed instead of drag matting it just because it's a little bit more delicate. And then this is for me the most essential part of the whole process. It's getting the germination sheets on, which will keep the moisture in. And then we watered it every 2 to 3 days, and we had some lovely temperatures, and that's what we were left with. Only 2 weeks later, lovely grass canopy that's only going to get thicker over the coming weeks. Don't forget to check out our sports subscription, our fertiliser subscription service at www.mowd.uk for a pitch like this.